Good morning, beautiful. As promised, up here on the top of the hill, and there are some lovely people right up on the place where I normally would stand, which is probably a good thing because it's breezier here than I expected it to be. So, this is a little bit sheltered here, so let me show you the view. Hi Alicia, look at this. Hi Andrea. Here's the view today, and you know, there's lots of sun and lots of sky, and I love it when the sun strikes the water. Morning Kaya. So I'm just remembering that I'm bouncing off a satellite here, so rather than just panning along, I'm going to take little shots and sit there because I know that with the transmission it's better if I do that. Good morning Gregory. Here's the view from the top of the hill, almost. Some other people enjoying the summit, so I'm standing here instead, which is just as well because it's a little bit sheltered. You can feel the breeze. So what else have we got? Let's keep going around. Here is the hill. I normally stand on top of this, and there are the steps. Big blue sky, which is actually quite properly blue today. Most of the haze from the Australian smoke fires is not there today, probably because the wind is from the south. You know, sending love to Australia. It's a challenging situation, and that's an understatement. And here we are, just blue sky, blue sky, blue sky. Good morning, Heather. Let's finish with this fabulous view. The sun striking the water. That's Petone Beach and the Hutt Valley, or the end of the Hutt. Hi Tanuya. And this is the morning. Let me just give you a decent view of Soames Matiu Island, which is beautiful. So here we are. Turn the camera around. Get going, Maddie. Guess what? I left the clock at home. So we'll be on Maddie time. I've got a fairly good timer actually installed in my head, about 22 minutes. So what I wanted to talk about today, because we've been talking about, I was in the field half an hour ago. Give me a break. What were we talking about all week? Really basic, practical stuff, because you know how I love things that you can actually do and that actually make a difference and that actually work. Practical things about, well, okay, so I'm here and I want to be there. How do I bridge that gap, right? We talked a little bit about heart coherence and brain coherence. There's a whole lot more information that's available online about that. And I've talked before about how you actually do that. It was kind of like a whistle-stop tour yesterday of this is my process, this is what I do. And when I was tuning in, thinking about what we're doing today, morning Lane, good morning, morning. I sort of hit a bit of a brick wall for a minute. You know, what are we talking about? Because sometimes you ask me really powerful questions, I think, oh, I know what we're talking about tomorrow, and sometimes you don't. And when I don't know, when there's nothing in the feed that just says, this is the thing that you need to talk about, Maddie, I always just go back to the field and I say, well, what is it? And I always get an immediate, thing that just pops into my awareness, comes into my sense of something, and then it's my job to interpret that. And there's actually a theme that's been coming through, not just today for you, but this week in the Heartfield for Abundant Manifestation. It was the same thing, and it's been the same thing for 2 weeks. And it's really about gentleness. It's about softness. It's not going into fighting our challenges. It's actually responding to things in a way that we don't normally respond to them. Because normally, something comes up, you want to fight to get through it. Darcy, good morning, hello. You want to push through it because we get trained and told that's what you need to do. There's a mountain, you've got to climb it, you've got to push hard, you've got to try hard. And none of that is wrong in itself. But the problem that I want to talk about, what happens when this goes off for us, is, for example, and this always floored me, and it's taken me a long time to work out what I'm going to share with you now. People are saying to you, and we talked about money this week, right? People are saying to you, look, you don't have money, right? But you need to behave like you're abundant. You need to behave like you're abundant. And the logical thing is to say, okay, so I should spend money like I have lots of money. And no, that's not what it means, because the problem with that... Morning, Lisa! Lovely to see you. I'm glad to catch you all too. The problem with spending money like you have money when you don't have it is that for 99.5% of all people, doing that puts you straight into fear. Linda! Good morning, honey! It makes you scared. And so as soon as you spend money that you don't have and you go into fear, you are not feeling abundant, right? So you just pushed past your own internal limit for how far you can stretch without going boom, straight into lack, or straight into fear, or straight into anger, or straight into sadness, or whatever it is. Oh, Camel's on a rampage. Now that's probably because I'm on the top of the hill, Linda, so don't, the satellite's never as good as the Wi-Fi at home, but sometimes I just have to show you the view. So this is the challenge, which I really didn't understand for a long time, that we need to expand sustainably. I know I've used that word about this before. We need to look at a challenge and say, okay, that's a huge challenge. It's like a frickin', north face of the Eiger, and I am just terrified by it, overwhelmed by it. It's way too much. Laura, good morning, honey. I can't do this. So then the question becomes, well, what can I do? Well, what's the state that I want to inhabit? Okay, I want to feel abundant. What does that feel like again? And we go through that process that I talked about briefly yesterday and the day before in more detail about how you become more abundant when you're not, there's nothing in your bank account or whatever. How you become, I feel loved, I feel whole, I feel complete when there's no special person in your life, all of that. So you remember that state, and then from that state, you look at the north face of the Eiger again and you think, okay, yeah, I still really don't know how to climb the north face of the Eiger, but I can see there's a rock at the bottom there that I can go around and get over. So I'm just going to tackle that, and I can tackle that from the space that, I can do this. I can do this. Yeah, and not looking at the limit on your bank statement except when you have to, because the limit on the bank statement is like the north face of the Eiger, right? But if you just look at the balance, okay, I've got this much, and I've got that to do, and it's all bloody scary, but which is the bit that I can chip away at? Hi, this is Slama. Good morning, Catherine. It's lovely to see you both. Lovely to have you here with me on the top of the hill today. So it's this, it's a fine line, because we want to inhabit the expanded space. And that's, that's who I'm choosing to be. That's my future that I'm choosing to inhabit now. But hang on, what I'm actually dealing with now really isn't like that. So how do I take this elevated self and plug it into my now and try it on for size? And you can try it on for size in your mind, right? You're going to mentally rehearse what it feels like to pay that tiny portion of the bill without feeling lack because you can't pay the rest of it, for example. Which, by the way, is something I'm dealing with right now. I will tell you the story, because this really kicked some stuff up for me on Wednesday. It's been a really interesting, perfectly organised week. Try it on that I have enough. So what's happened, those of you who've been with me for a while, you know that I have a beautiful friend in the Gambia called Sangmarie, and I took on this crazy thing at the beginning of last year to do fundraising for him to help him get through nursing school. Long story. Look up Sangmarie Nursing. He's got a page and you can read the story there. Yeah, exactly. What will make me feel rich in spirit? And remember, how does it feel? It's not what will make you feel rich in spirit, because you have the power to do that, Linda. That's the thing. There's nothing outside of us that needs to do it. But what does it feel like, and can I generate that in me? So the thing that threw me into lack is, last November was a really slow month for Sangmarie's fundraising, for whatever reason. And by the way, there are gorgeous people who are committed to regularly support Sangmarie with small amounts of money. I don't want anybody to bankrupt themselves over this. and you know, you're absolute angels, and it means that he can eat, by the way. He's facing enormous challenges beyond needing to eat, but at least having food is something. And so anyway, November was a really slow month. And what was interesting, and I sense a setup here, is I didn't notice that I was sending him food money, because we have a set amount that we send him, which we sort of calculated we could do. And I wasn't keeping up. The fundraising wasn't keeping up. And it sort of dawned on me in December, oh shit, there's all this money that went out and hasn't come in, and it's on my credit card statement. So I thought, oh well, you know, I managed it. I decided how I was going to feel about it. And I knew that it would catch up with me eventually. And on Wednesday, when I looked at the credit card statement, I thought, yep, okay, we've done all the other things, you know, the money out, money comes in. Oh yeah, and now there's $300 on that Visa statement that has to be paid by the 18th. And the fundraising, as it stands right now, logically, three-dimensionally, is not going to make that. And I went into a spin over it, really I did. Not intellectually, but my body went into fear. And so I had to manage that, right? So I'm just telling you this story to illustrate the fact that it happens for me. And I had to manage that, and I had to think, okay, well actually, you know, yeah, we could wait for the fundraising to catch up, but then he would go hungry. Unacceptable. Yeah, actually, I can pay that money out of my own funds, and I'm not going to go hungry. Yeah, okay, not excited about it, but I can do that. All right, so nobody's going to starve. And then having, you know, again, just using my brain, thinking about it, and thinking, okay, but I'm still in fear here. Whew, you know, and there's all kinds of magical things happening. You'll see this soon. I've literally manifested for almost nothing, the most amazing promotional video for Sang Marie. It's beautiful. Created by a young man who is in a refugee school, a refugee film school, a film school for refugees, right? Somewhere in Asia. I haven't quite worked it out. Together we can change the world as part of that. And it's this gorgeous video, and you know, and I'm thinking, okay, there it is, of course. This is an opportunity. This is a wonderful tool that I've manifested in perfect time to do some more promotion. And, you know, there are possibilities that this money is going to arrive because I have this new tool. I have this new ability to tell this amazingly inspiring story. It's 2 minutes long. You know, it's beautiful. It's so well done. And by the way, if anybody's in a small business and you want a promotional video, please contact me. This guy is brilliant. And it's cost me $15 US, which for him is a decent sum of money. For me, it's nothing really. So, you know, I just paid for that. So the point being that then the sticking point in me, right? The sticking point in me is, oh, well, you know, I'll do this and I'll promote the thing and nothing will happen. That's the belief, that's the felt experience that I've told you about in the past. So that's my point of growth. So how can I, first of all, okay, that's my thing that's come up. Now, who is it that I want to be again? Me abundant? Me having the fundraising be easy? Me feeling rich in spirit, as you say, Linda? Me having the money just flow in and be there in time, and, you know, nobody's busted their ass over it, but together these little bits have come in, somehow it's enough. It's only about 210 or 20 US dollars. It's not a lot of money, really, because it's 300 New Zealand. You know, who am I when that's not a problem? And now, from that space, if I can just remember that, which every day I get to remember it a bit more and practice it a bit more, what action can I take that actually I can hold, that I can do that action from that space rather than being thrown into lack? It's a very fine line sometimes, and often you don't immediately know, because the reason why you don't immediately know is because you don't actually know who that self is that feels rich in spirit and doesn't get scared by an extra $300 on their bank statement, you know, that you've got to pay, that you sort of knew but had forgotten about. Who is that me, and how would that me talk to me about this? What would I say to myself? And most of all, how can I inhabit that me gently? How can I expand sustainably and gently into that aspect of myself without going so far that I snap back into lack again? It's this internal tolerance that we have for change and expansion. And I can't give you a blanket answer, because we all have to find it as we go along. Oh yeah, totally. Because remember, all our expectations are, it's going to be like that all over. It's totally, it's the architecture of my brain, which has said for a long time, money, I have to yank it out of. It's like grabbing something that's like chewing gum that's stuck to the pavement. It just doesn't come to me. So it's been a really deep, visceral thing that, this is hard, man. And so I can't I haven't been able to immediately just jump from there to knowing it's fine. I can't see it. I trust the unknown. I mean, I know that I trust the unknown. I really do. But at the same time, when something like this comes up where there's been much more charge and difficulty about it, I can't just make that leap yet. And I'll acknowledge that. Instead of beating myself over the head about it and getting pissed off or upset or scared because, I'm creating a problem, I can't hold the space, the universe can't give me what I want, which is a common thing that people feel. It's like, oh my God, I got scared, I fell off the horse, that means I broke everything I was just manifesting. No, it doesn't work like that. So, yeah, it is like a muscle memory, and the muscle memory has to change, Andrew. You're right, and it just takes this practice. But, going with muscle memory, this is a great example. If you have a muscle that's been conditioned to be short, because, for example, pectorals, the muscles here, people close in on themselves and they get short. You see someone with a hump on their back, they've got tight pectorals. If you suddenly tell them to straighten up and open their chest, first of all, they can't. But second, if they try it, after a very short time it hurts. Because the muscles are used to being short. You can't just force them to being an inch longer each one. They've got to change gradually. This is a perfect example, thank you, Andrea. This is what we have to do. We have to recondition ourselves to being that different person. Or as Joe Dispenza would say, you've got to recondition the body to a new mind. So my body is no longer, this can't happen, it's so hard. 3 times a day, 10 minutes each time, my new experiment. Totally. So it's like putting your foot in the water to see what temperature it is and can you tolerate it, and building up a tolerance and getting used to it. So that instead of it just being, oh my God, this is so hard, it's like, hang on a minute, this little piece of it, I'm going to practice inhabiting just a little bit, and I'm not going to beat myself up when I can't do it for longer than that because I'm so used to doing the other thing. So it's this gentleness, it's this incremental change, which we all think, oh God, I need the 7-leg boots. I need to hurry up and do this. I need to make it happen faster. We get scared about time. God, I run away from the tiger. The Tyrannosaurus Rex is going to eat me if I don't solve this problem immediately. And it's not true. And what we find after a while is when you do your 10 minutes 3 times a day, you look back and you realise you had your 7-leg boots on all the time. These small steps where we're gentle and kind to ourselves are sustainable, and they eat up the miles. I read this. Oh yeah, you see, you wish you had a little more money. Oh, yeah, it arrives. So, that wishing, Linda, must be very close now in your mind and in your body to thinking, oh, wouldn't it be nice if? Wouldn't this be really cool? And it's like you're playing with it, you're imagining it, and you're starting to inhabit it as you do that wishing. I don't think you're wishing, I think you're mentally rehearsing. And because you're becoming this really powerful manifester, well, you've always been, everybody's always a really powerful manifester, because you're getting used to the idea that you can manifest good stuff in your life, it's coming to you faster and easier. And that's exactly what happens. Before it was like pushing shit uphill, or as my husband would say, pushing diarrhea uphill. Bloody impossible. You can't. It doesn't work, right? But to do it little by little, to these tiny little bites inside ourselves, we think they're tiny, but they're not. They're massive. And being gentle and kind as we recreate ourselves each day. That's our power, and it moves mountains. It really does. Now, I don't know what time it is, but I know I must be getting close, so I'm going to show you the view again. Oh, yes. Yeah, Darcy, it is about prioritising ourselves. It is, you're right. But you know what? It gets easier, and then it gets to be, oh my God, you want me not to do that? This is the most delicious part of my day. So, yeah, it's work, but at the same time, it's the most gorgeous work you'll ever do for yourself. At least that's how I find it with my work with Dr. Joe meditations. They're amazing. It's just, I can't tell you where I've been the last 24 hours. It's just so delicious. And if it's hard, you just got to go gently, Laura. Really, really gently, step by step. You got to know who you want to be, but then you got to recognise the gap and take very small steps because they get bigger. Remember, every time you take a small step, you're firing a new neural network in your brain. That's the part that's hard because you haven't made the connections. You don't know who that person is. The more you inhabit these things, the easier it gets. Ah, you're welcome, Lisa. You're doing an amazing... You're turning a submarine around, honey. We all are. It's incredible that we can do this. All right, I know I got to stop. There is the view. It's beautiful. This is, Wellington Harbour, Somes Matiu Island. And I got to show you the sun and the sunstrike because I love that. And you can hear the cicadas in the background. It is the sound of summer here. Thank you for sharing with me. It's Friday again. Really. The week has vanished because I spend a lot of it in no time. I live in no time now and I accomplish everything. So much love. Look out for the resonant replays. Remember, this is who you are and what you can do. I will see you on my Monday, probably your Sunday. Depends on what side of the date line you're on. Big love. Bye-bye.